Welcome to the Golden Nuggets. This podcast is brought to you by WordPress. Ever wonder why some websites always pop up first? That's SEO magic at work. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And if your website isn't up there, you're missing out big time. Here's the deal. Every day your website stays hidden is the day your competitors grab your customers. It's not just about being online, it's about being seen. At WordPress, we turn your website from invisible to irresistible. Simple, effective SEO that gets you noticed, gets you customers, and gets you ahead. Don't let your website be the internet's best kept secret. Make it a customer magnet. Ready to be found? Visit wordpress.com/search. Let's make your website the star of the show this year. Don't miss out.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Golden Nuggets podcast. Hanafi here, and with me I have Ame, and we are still with Brother Muhsin.
Yeah. Alright, Muhsin.
Yep. Boss, if you guys haven't listened to part 1 and part 2, go and tune into that one first, because now we're going to be talking about whatever Ame is going to ask lah.
Now we're going to talk about Project Helix.
Yeah, Project Helix.
Alright. So can you share with us how is the customer or the patient's journey when they go through Project Helix or when they engage you?
Okay, so when they engage me, because usually when they engage me is because they don't know what to do, right? And they don't know where to go, which doctor to go and see. So this is where my experience as a nurse helps them a lot, right? I don't just redirect them to any doctors under the sun. The doctor must be specialized and specific to the patient. So that's one. I cut down unnecessary time looking for doctors that is specific to their injury or illness. That's one. Secondly, they know they can always fall back on me in the event whereby, if let's say I do have some patients whereby when the doctor asks them to go for a surgery, then they will come and ask me, Muhsin, is this surgery necessary for me? Right? There are times whereby I say actually it's not. There are more cost effective ways right now if you want to try it out. So let's try out those first, okay? And then surgery is the last resort. So these are the options that I give. Yes, it does affect how much I earn, but at the end of the day, I think my moral ethics always comes into play lah. And of course, after that, the follow up, I make sure that they recover as much as possible. Their recovery potential gets fulfilled, and they're happy. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to pause on it?
No.
Okay.
Alright.
So my follow up question is every time I understand why people look for you now. The reason is because like what Hanafi mentioned of course just now. Not Hanafi, Nazrin. He mentions that doctors sometimes will ask you, what do you want to do? And how are you as a patient who do not understand any any treatments that is supposed to be for you, give them the answer, right? What are your thoughts on this kind of perhaps doctors who give this kind of answers whenever somebody present them with an ailment?
Yeah, with the symptoms that they are facing that they don't know how to counter to.
So when the doctors ask this, it may seem like they themselves don't know what to do, right? But I think perhaps he was asking it wrongly. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. And perhaps they just want to know if the patient has their own thoughts. Because right now, actually in the current situation, patients or clients, they have their own mindset like, oh, actually I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So perhaps he was just putting the ball in the patient's court to allow him to decide. But of course, again, it always relies on the patients that you're seeing. If you're seeing a 60-year-old, 70-year-old man, don't ask them what they want to do.
Correct. All right. When you mention about 60, 70-year-old man, like for you personally, if this age group were to approach you, what are the difference in advice do you think you give and also a doctor will give to them?
Actually, the advice will be practically the same. Let's say usually of all the elderly, they have pain issues, right? how do we deal with pain? And yes, from the Western medicine perspective, it's always about painkillers.
Yeah.
Right? And as much as I do understand the importance of painkillers, but I do not want it to be a long-term solution for my patients. So there are a lot of other alternatives out there that deals with pain management. And it depends on the kind of pain that you're facing, really muscle pain, nerve pain, chronic, arthritic, that kind of thing. And there's different management. So I'll present the options first, okay? I'll say we can try it out. So whatever they choose, I'm always there for them to fall back on. I'm always there to identify and see if the treatment works or not.
Okay.
Unless if it's a life-threatening issue, don't wait. Right? I wouldn't want them to spend the time to try. But when it's chronic and they don't want medications, they want to try something more traditional, yeah, go for it. And I know for a fact it works.
Okay.
Maybe you can give us like one example. Like say I have a muscle pain in my calf after football, and it has been 2 weeks and I'm still feeling a bit of aching. What would be a traditional medicine
Ice it.
or method? Ice it. Even after 2 weeks,
Then-
it's still
Because you have not done it yet.
yeah.
So ice it, then warm towel, ice it again. Football players do that. After a game, what do? Ice bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ice reduces swelling, right?
Yeah.
Numbs the pain a bit. Warm towels improve circulation, promote and stimulate circulation.
I see.
Yeah, that's the
Now,
most
now I know why when I went to Iceland and then we went to sauna and then we went out
How do you
naked in the cold
How do you
ice
feel?
and they say roll around bro, roll around. So all of them were like rolling around in the snow and then we ran back
Naked?
in. Yeah, naked bro. And then we went back into the sauna to steam ourselves again. And then we just have a shower.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, so it helps.
Yes, definitely. So the
This thing
the
just-
most easiest pain management at home is this thing called RICE therapy. Rest, ice, compress, elevate. Yeah, that's the most common sort of pain relief.
I don't know if there's a term for it, but after that whole thing, right? After that night with them, right? When I was walking back to where I was staying, it was super relaxing. My whole body was like super relaxed. Even though it's shivering cold the moment I get back to where I was staying at the Airbnb, I was like totally relaxed. It's like you're floating.
Yes,
So,
your body feels lighter.
yes.
And you actually feel more energized. Actually,
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, do you have any competitors? Because from what you explained earlier, especially about your patient's journey, right? I think like if there are more of you or your services, it will benefit basically the entire healthcare ecosystem, because not only that you will direct them to the correct place, but you will also lessen the burden in the current healthcare system that we have.
yep. Yes, there are definitely competitors out there, and I can safely say that perhaps not all, but most of them, they do not have the medical background that I have, and they will be unable to give the right kind of advice, and they only work with Western medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, they do not believe in other kinds
Alternative.
of alternatives. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, what are your plans to scale this business? Because I think it's really important for more and more people to go through your services.
Yep. So my plan is actually, I am looking into digitalizing it, because right now it's me one-to-one, right? So with a platform, so basically I'm putting myself in an app, so I can serve 10, 20, 30 people at one time, and there will be no risk of them falling off the cracks. There'll be no risk of them me missing out a step or a follow up, the kind of thing. So everything will be controlled in the system, and I know where they all go and all that, and how much they recover. And there's a lot more features in the app which I'm looking to build. And of course, I do want to train more nurses to be more like me.
Okay.
Yep. So that they know that whatever they've learned so far, they're really putting it to good use.
I know that hospitals nowadays, they have case managers also for patients that have already been discharged. Do you think this is a good step forward to be having more people doing like what you do?
For case managers, their main goal is to prevent patient readmitting to the hospital within 30 days. That's the KPI.
Okay.
And it's good whereby now at least we get to anticipate whether this patient will they get readmitted. If they are, what are the things that we can identify to make sure they don't come in for the same problem again and again. So that's actually good. But to come and do what I do, it's really all about you on your own. You whatever you decide for your patient, you must decide it with conviction. Because there's no one for you to refer to. There's no one for you to turn to and say, hey, am I doing correctly or not? There's no one to do that for you.
I see. Okay. When you say that some of your competitors, they do not have like background like what you do, are you talking about experience, or are they like people who were not even in the healthcare industry before?
They are not in the healthcare industry.
I see. So perhaps they were project managers from other industries, and then now they come in and then they project manage a patient instead.
Sort of.
Okay. What are the ways that you are going to train future nurses to be doing what you're doing? Because experience, I mean, like, you can't just get the next person who has the exact same experience as you. Different nurses have different experience.
So at the end of the day, it's all about how much do you want to improve yourself as a nurse. I don't get the kind of knowledge I get now just by working 16 years. Right? It's really about going back to the books, finding things out. Like for travel medicine, for example, what I'm doing now, if you decide to travel to any countries, right? Do you know what kind of diseases are prevalent there? And are you protected by it? Just as simple as for people who go for their Hajj or Umrah in Saudi, high prevalence of meningitis. Are you covered? Are you vaccinated against that? How do you prevent travel diarrhea? We know when we travel, most of us always get diarrhea. Why? Right? There's a reason for it. Why? So, and I don't learn this working in the hospital. Right? I learn this outside of the hospital. So it's really about researching, constant research, update yourself with the current best practice evidence, and not just learn in Singapore. There's so many things to learn overseas.
Would this be something, because it's interesting you mentioned Saudi, right? And you also mentioned that you are trying to build an app. So this app, would it be able to one day be catered to people around the world?
Yes.
Right. So that means if I go to Iceland, actually it's not Iceland, guys. It's Finland.
Okay.
So that means if I go Finland, and if anything happens, then I can just use in future.
Yes. That's my plan.
That's the goal, huh?
That's the goal. How many years ahead, or perhaps how many years time do you think you can deliver this?
Well, actually, I hope within the next 2 years.
Next 2 years.
I'm already coming out with a video to show the app features and all. Then hopefully get some funding and get it started.
But that will also mean you need a database of doctors around.
Oh, that one easy.
Not easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's easy.
Oh, you guys in the healthcare industry got the secrets already. Okay.
Connections is there.
Connections.
Okay. When we talk about overseas, right? When we talk about, for example, Malaysia, I believe they deliver the same kind of care and treatment that we do, right?
Oh, yes.
And at definitely a cheaper cost, right?
Yes.
Do you think it's perhaps something that we should really consider if, let's say, we have a medical issue here and we know that the fees over here is going to be expensive? Do you think it makes sense for us to just go there and get treatment there?
Yes, definitely. Especially for people who are already not covered by insurance, right? And they want to get faster and better treatment. Actually, Malaysia does offer a high quality of care. The hospitals there are as good, if not better, than Singapore hospitals. I've seen it for myself. That's why I work with them. Even countries like Thailand, their private hospitals are superb.
Really?
Superb, yeah. I'm not saying Singapore hospitals are bad. Yes, we have a certain standard that we are abiding to, but the countries around us, they are picking up in their healthcare standards.
And what about cost wise?
Cost price, definitely Malaysia. You not just considering the exchange rate, right? Like say for example, total knee replacement in Singapore can cost you what $35,000.
Yep.
In KL, in one of the main top private hospitals there, it costs about 16,000 ringgit.
Wow. Okay.
16.
So I think
30,000 difference.
yeah, it is.
I mean, I've heard about. I've seen like TikTok videos where these travel vloggers, they like to go to Bangkok or somewhere in Thailand and then get their beauty fix over there because it's way cheaper. But this is the first time I'm hearing, with Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like recently, I think Abang Abu also went to Malaysia and he got a first class
Treatment.
in
Speaking
a
of
private.
Abang Abu, we're supposed to invite.
Yeah, soon.
Sorry,
Shout
Abang
out
Abu.
Abang Abu. Yeah. Okay, 16,000 for knee replacement. I should have told that to my mum previously before she did. Yeah, maybe for me in the future.
But you have contacts, right?
Yes, definitely. I already have partnerships with hospitals.
Okay, so usually we leave this to the end of the episode, but maybe you can share where and how can they connect with you.
Yes.
For this kind of treatment.
So my digital presence is actually on. It should be done by end of next week.
Okay.
Right? I will have my landing pages, my website all up. My social media just started running. Facebook.
Project Helix also.
Project Helix, yeah. It's on the name Project Helix. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Right. So these are the four. And my video podcast has been uploaded to YouTube also. Yep. So I think by March I'll be visible anywhere.
Okay. Now that you've shared this, maybe you can run through with us like what would the usual clientele go through, right? So I find you on Instagram. What do I do next? Click on the link and then drop you a message, or what's the next process?
So what has been going on so far? I share stories with my clients on Facebook. Or this also, I do have people actually DMing me and telling me, "Hi Muhsin, I have this problem. How can you help?" So I'll ask, what kind of problem do you have, right? Then I'll get them over a phone consult. Okay. Then as they explain to me, then if they have any kinds of lab investigation results or X-rays and all that, I'll ask them to send it to me. I'll look it through, and then I'll tell them what roughly I think they're having. Okay, then I'll ask them, okay, so do you want to see a specialist? I have a specialist that's specialized for this kind of cases. Do you want to see them? And then I'll look into, are they properly covered, right? Can they afford? Okay. There are patients who say, "Oh, I cannot afford a $200 consultation." I say, "Sure, no problem. Let's go the government route. Go to a polyclinic, so you can get subsidized."
Yes.
Okay, and then go to whichever hospital is convenient for you, right? So even though they may not be directly under my care, but I will still follow up with them. That after they see the doctor, how are you, right? How is it going? How's the treatment going? Okay. There are some patients where I will go to their house and actually do a personal assessment on them, especially for my orthopedic cases. When they say they have a pain in their leg and all that, so they don't know whether is it ligament tear, whether is it muscle, whether is it nerve. Yeah, so I'll go there and assess, and then I'll tell them what is the most likely outcome and what do they want to do next, right? So I present the options, go specialist or whatsoever. Then I'll arrange it for them. And then I'll just follow them to wherever they go. Alright, I'll look through the insurance also, make sure that they are covered. Because I don't want patients to go and pay, but then when you want
Can't
to
get
claim,
reimbursement.
then they can't get claim. Yeah. So I'll make sure they are covered for all this.
Okay. Wow, very comprehensive.
Yes. That is the current way that you're doing. But what about in a couple of months' time? Like once your digital presence is there?
So it'll still be the same. So they will upload all these documents in, and I think with the platform, it also it's because they're sharing with me their personal data, medical history and all that. So it's very sensitive information.
Yes.
So the app will actually make it more safer for them to upload all these documents. Then from these documents, we will derive what's the potential diagnosis for them, and then then present them the options. They click. When they click, we make all the booking for them already. Yeah.
Secure lah. Secure by SHA-256 encoding yada. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Perhaps one last question before we end the show. Do you think it's necessary for basically healthcare or medical businesses to be doing advertisements and perhaps focus on marketing? Do you think it's necessary? Because you don't see like your house GP, having an ad on your Facebook, something like that, right?
I think partly because like Facebook tend to flag the content, right? So what are your thoughts?
Okay, so actually there are some rules and regulations posted by the ministry, SMC and all that you cannot promote yourself. So, but there's always a way around it, you know. So like for me, I share stories, right? And that's how I tell people how I help people, right? And from there, when people say, I have the same problem, maybe he can help me, right? So at the end of the day, all services are the same, right? And all businesses are the same. We want to provide something for our end users.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's up to the end users whether they want to patronize us or not.
Yeah.
And you're not posting about something that's come and look for me, I'll make sure you get settled, or come to look for me, you will be pain free, right? When you see me, your worries are gone. You cannot make those kind of guarantees, of course.
Yeah.
But it's about why I do this to help people. Yeah. At the end of the day, they decide whether was I a great help to them or not.
So it's like those doctors on TikTok, how to correct your posture, how to have a.
I can imagine him coming on TikTok and then say, I have a patient with this issues. Let's discuss about how we're gonna treat this. Yeah, I think that's what you can do in the future.
Interesting, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's call it a day.
Alright, so that was a very interesting session. Maybe I should start planning another trip to Finland so I can run out naked. Or maybe get Brother Muhsin to, assess me one day.
You can just go Snow City,
Snow City naked later kena tangkap.
Oh yeah, true. Yes, you have to book the whole place.
The whole place, huh? Yeah. And with that, thank you so much, Brother Muhsin, for all your sharing today.
Thank you, Hanafi,
and
for having me. Thank you
to the listeners
and thank
who
you,
have tuned in to part 1, part 2 and part 3. And we value you guys so much. If you guys have any question, please drop us a DM. And if you want to find Brother Muhsin, you already heard how to find him. And with that being said, thank you. See you guys in the next episode. Peace.